In this video, I want to show you how to flirt better than 99% of men. So you can go from being ignored and friend zoned by women to being chased by them. I'll show you what most men actually do wrong when flirting and how fixing this one mistake can instantly lead to better results with women, regardless of your looks, your age, your height, or your income. In fact, by the end of this video, you'll have the magic keys to building attraction, creating that sexual spark, and getting what you really want with women. So if that sounds good, pay attention and keep watching. I'm Marni, and from here on out, I am going to be your very own personal wing girl. And every week, I'm going to give you the no BS insider info about what women really want versus what they say they want, plus the most effective methods to win over any woman you like. So just hit that subscribe button now so you never miss a video. But before I tell you the best flirting hack that you'll ever hear that any guy can pull off, I want to tell you another hack that every man should be doing for his penis. If you want a vibrant sex life filled with the best erections of your life that don't fail you when needed most, then you are going to love today's video sponsor, Joy Mode. Joy Mode is the hack your penis has been waiting for and makes you always ready for the ultimate sexual pleasure that will guarantee extreme pleasure for you and for her. Joy Mode's Sexual Performance Booster is an all-natural and science-backed solution to increase blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance. No more will you need to take recreational prescriptions and over-the-counter gas station pills to help you in the bedroom. These products are terrible. They're disgusting. They can hurt you in the long run. I would much rather you take a supplement designed to spice things up naturally rather than a prescription drug that can have harmful effects on you down the road. So Joy Mode's Sexual Performance Booster is like a pre-workout for sex. It's amazing. You can take it anywhere from 45 minutes to 5 hours before you have sex, and you can expect to get one of the best erections of your life. Men across the nation have turned to Joy Mode with over 1 million packets taken to elevate their sexual performance. So if you want to spice things up in the bedroom, boost your sexual performance, and support your overall heart health and quality of life, and do it naturally without nasty prescription drugs, then I want you to give Joy Mode a try. So go to tryjoymode.com/Marni or enter Marni at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's joymode.com/Marni for 20% off your first order. Thank you, Joy Mode, for sponsoring today's video. Now, onto your flirting hack that I promised you. So let's talk about the biggest mistake men make with flirting and the reason why so many guys don't get the women that they want. So I'll explain this with an example of a client of mine. His name is James, because that's really his name. He's new to our Inner Circle coaching program, and this is something that happened to him just weeks ago. So James matches with this woman named Emma on a dating app. They text back and forth, have a nice conversation, and make plans to go out for drinks. The date arrives, and James is wanting to make a good first impression, so he starts with safe topics. He talks to her about her job as a teacher, her hobbies, where she grew up, her favorite movies, and so on. And Emma responds and follows up with similar questions about him. And an hour goes by, and the conversation is just fine. Nothing awkward, but nothing exciting either. And at this point, James realizes that he should say something flirty and show some romantic interest. But not knowing how to make the transition, he just awkwardly compliments her eyes. And Emma responds with a polite, "Thank you," but seems confused by the sudden shift. So 10 minutes later, the date comes to an end. James and Emma share a friendly and passionless hug and goodbye, after which she walks away. Now, what went wrong here for James here is the same thing that goes wrong for most men who come to me for help. James waited too long to start flirting and being playful, and that is a guaranteed way to ruin your chances with a woman. Why? Well, there are two simple reasons for it. First of all, when you wait too long to flirt on a low level, you establish a very platonic frame. So remember this, the first few minutes of any interaction, any new interaction, establishes the frame, which is the unspoken understanding of what kind of relationship this is. If you spend an hour or even the first 10 to 20 minutes in purely platonic, polite conversation, you're establishing a platonic frame. And once this frame is set, it's difficult to shift out of. When you suddenly try to introduce romantic interest after an hour of friendly talk, it feels awkward and uncomfortable to a woman. It's like switching a genre of a movie halfway through it, from a documentary to a romance out of nowhere. It just doesn't work. Secondly, when you wait too long to flirt or be playful, you show a lack of confidence. When you suddenly make an attempt to flirt after a pointless, friendly conversation, a woman can sense that you were just too scared to flirt earlier, right? You weren't ready for it, and that you're probably intimidated by her, which is not good for you. And that's not attractive at all. Even if she had some interest in you initially, this kind of hesitation and delay in taking action is always going to kill that interest and chase her away. I had another client named Michael who would always have these good conversations with women, but he never understood why they ignored him later or never saw him as more than just a friend. So when I worked with him, the problem became very obvious very quickly. He would always hesitate and wait till the last minutes of an interaction to start flirting. And like I said, that is a recipe for failure. So here is what to do instead. Every time you spark a conversation with a woman that you find attractive, or even just anybody, stick to the 2-minute rule of flirting. What is the 2-minute rule of flirting? It's simple. It means you need to start flirting with a woman within 2 minutes of talking to her, meaning being playful and joking around and teasing. In other words, you can allow yourself a maximum of 5 minutes of platonic conversation before you introduce some flirting. So the first couple of minutes can go into introducing yourself, asking about her day, her job, where she's from, and stuff like that. But then you got to add some flavor. You have to add some flirtation into the mix. You need to show her that this isn't just two friends hanging out, that there's something more. This doesn't mean you have to make some big, risky moves. You can be subtle and playful with it. So for example, if she tells you that she's from San Diego, you can say something like this. Oh, I've heard about women from San Diego. Right, I see what they're saying now. Right? Like that's fun. Delivered with a smirk and good eye contact, this line instantly creates a flirty man-to-woman vibe in the interaction without being creepy or risking rejection. Or you could say something like, that makes more sense now. You're one of those people. Again, said with a smirk. Doing things like this breaks you out of that platonic frame before you get stuck in there for good. It makes a woman feel that spark of romantic tension and also paints you as a confident guy who knows what he wants and goes for it. Now that said, I'll show you more ways to start flirting with a woman in just a second, and I'll give you more lines and examples to learn from. But before that, there's something else that we need to discuss. We need to talk about the myth of the perfect moment, because that is the root cause of your struggles with flirting. You see, one of the biggest mental blocks that causes men to flirt too late is waiting for the perfect moment, for like that green light. They think that there will be some obvious signal or perfect opportunity to transition from friendly conversation to flirtation. And I'll tell you right now, the perfect moment does not exist. You have to make it exist. Flirting always requires a leap of faith. A woman's never going to hold up a flashing sign saying, please flirt with me now, I'm ready. You have to create the moment rather than wait for it. And consider this, if she's agreed to go on a date with you, or if she's continuing a conversation with you that you've initiated, she's at least open to the possibility of attraction. That is your green light. You don't need any more permission than that. That is it. So stop waiting and start flirting. If you're clueless about how flirting works and how to introduce it early into an interaction, here are 6 techniques that you can use with any woman and spark attraction on command. In fact, these are some of the easiest ways to trigger attraction in a woman that you can use right away. Starting with technique number 1, which is the playful assumption. This technique involves making a slightly exaggerated assumption about her based on something you observe or something that's in the conversation. So for example, if she was reading a book or she looks a little introverted and nerdy, you could say something like this to her. You could say, you strike me as someone who was definitely the teacher's pet in school. If she's got that cute girl next door vibe going on, you could say something like, you seem like such a nice, innocent girl. I bet you never break any rules or do anything crazy. If she tells you she works in finance, you could say something like, oh God, I bet you give the best stock advice at parties, don't you? Right? Now listen, these assumptions don't have to be accurate. You can just make them up. In order to make this technique work, you only need to do 3 things. 1, make an observation about her or focus on something she mentions in the conversation. 2, use that information to make a silly and exaggerated guess about her. 3, say it to her with a smile on your face so she knows that you're being playful. So in most cases, you can use phrases like, I bet you're the type who, or you strike me as someone who, and follow it up with your assumption. It doesn't matter if you're right or you're completely wrong. It's going to make the conversation more fun and interesting either way. I'm just going to agree with you or disagree with you. And it'll open the door to more flirting and banter. So technique number 2, which is absurd answers. This is another super easy way to make a conversation fun and playful and flirty. So here's what to do. Take those early questions you get in a conversation, and instead of giving the right, correct, logical answer, reply with something just like absurd and silly. Where are you from? Heaven. What do you do for a living? Or what do you do? I'm an astronaut. I just came back from the moon yesterday. I'm so tired. The ground feels so good. How old are you? I'm 700 months old. You don't have to do this for every question you ask, and you definitely should not. It gets annoying if you do. But when done a few times in conversation early on, this is a great way to be open and open the door to flirting. It immediately creates a pattern interrupt and changes the vibe from boring and platonic to fun and engaging. Technique number 3. Teasing their response. Teasing in conversation communicates a powerful message. It tells a woman that you're not intimidated by her. It shows her you're confident enough to mess with her a little bit. And this is crucial because most guys put an attractive woman on a pedestal and try too hard to impress her. Teasing cuts through all of that and instantly creates those emotional sparks that cause attraction. So just like playful assumptions, teasing is done in response to something you notice or something she mentions in conversation. So for example, if she says that she is a morning person, you can say, a morning person? I didn't know I was talking to a psychopath. Next, you'll tell me you enjoy doing taxes and eating vegetables. If she mentions something like cats over dogs or just says anything you disagree with, you could say, seriously? I was just starting to think you're cool, but I'm not sure if we should talk to each other anymore. If she mentions she's terrible at cooking, you could respond with something like, okay, so basically, I should never accept a dinner invitation from you. Good to know. These teases don't have to be laugh out loud funny. They're like little pokes. It just has to show that you're messing with her and that you don't take things too seriously. That said, there are 2 rules for effective teasing. First, stick to teasing about her trivial things and choices she has made instead of her deeply held values or things that she can't change about herself. And second, tease always with a little smirk on your face and a playful tone. As long as you do that, you can have the most fun, flirty conversations with any woman, anywhere. Technique number 4, the mild challenge. This is another form of teasing that works really well. So this technique involves challenging what she says in a way that creates some playful tension. So for example, let's say she tells you about a talent or a skill that she has, like she makes amazing pasta. You could say, oh really? I might need to see some proof of this. Anyone can claim they make amazing pasta. If she tells you that she loves watching horror movies, you could be like, I don't buy it. You seem like the type who gets super scared very easily. If she claims that she's better than you at something, like she's a better dancer than you or funnier than you, you could look at her and be like, aw, that's adorable. Right? Playfully challenging her like this shows that you're not just going to go along with everything she says like most guys do. I talked about this in my frame control video. This is exactly the same thing. It shows her you're not desperate to make her like you, and it creates a fun and interesting dynamic in the conversation, which leads to more flirting and attraction. Technique number 5, physical flirting. Physical flirting isn't about being touchy and grabby with a woman. It's about creating some romantic tension through a mix of closeness and distance or touch and release. To effectively do this, you need to take advantage of the natural moments in the conversation and let the interaction guide the physical engagement, okay? So for example, when making an important point in conversation, you can briefly touch her arm and then pull away. I can't really properly do it, but you know what I'm saying. If she's showing you something on her phone, you can move closer to see it, allowing your shoulders to touch momentarily, and then pull back and go back to your original position. When she says something impressive, you can offer a high five and let your hand contact linger for a split second longer than usual. If you're walking side by side and need to navigate through a crowd, you can lightly place your hand on the small of her back to guide her and then remove it once through, which is very sexy. There are other videos on this channel that go over ways to touch a woman, and you can check them out later, but that's a little summary. For now, understand that this is one of the most powerful ways to flirt with a woman and create romantic tension. The only caveat is you need to be aware of her comfort levels and always respect her boundaries. So if she seems uncomfortable with something, pull back, tone it down. Try again later after you've built more chemistry and connection with her. A useful mindset to have for physical flirting is one step forward, one step back. You never want to be too touchy. You want to alternate between touch and no touch, closeness and space, tension and release. That's what creates red hot attraction and gets her wanting more. So technique number 6 is thoughtful compliments. Yes, compliments do work, but not the generic ones that most guys use. You want to use compliments that show a woman you're actually paying attention to who she is, not just what she looks like. So these are what I call thoughtful, specific compliments. So for example, instead of, "You've got beautiful eyes," or "Your eyes are gorgeous," you can say something like this: "I noticed how your eyes light up when you smile. It's really captivating." Another example would be after she tells a really good story, instead of saying, "Wow, that's so amazing," you can say, I love how you tell stories. You get so animated and into it. It's great. It's really about making a genuine observation about her and acknowledging it, about noticing something specific that you really appreciate and then letting her know about it. That's how this works. Other than that, there are 2 things to keep in mind. First, don't linger on these compliments. Let her know. Then you want to keep the conversation going, right? Because sometimes if you sit in silence after a compliment, it can build up too much tension and overwhelm her, which is good sometimes, but not great all the time. Secondly, remember, less is more. If you compliment too much, it starts to lose its value. So stick to 1 or 2 compliments per interaction and make sure you balance it out with the other flirty teasing techniques that we've discussed in this video. In fact, you never want to be one-dimensional with your flirting. You don't want to be the guy who only teases or only compliments women or only uses physical flirting. That can make you predictable and boring very quickly. So instead, you want to mix a few of these techniques together into your interactions. It doesn't have to be all of them, but at least 2 or 3 of the 6 that I listed. If you can do that and you can follow the 2 to 5 minute rule as we discussed, you can become a master flirt and have more women chasing you than you can handle. That said, I know there's a lot in this video, okay? And you might be wondering, how do you remember all of this when you're out meeting women? It can get very overwhelming, especially when you're interacting with women that you really want and that you're very attracted to. Well, this is why I put together my program called the F Formula, which is a complete blueprint and guide for men on how to flirt with women. Guys who know how to flirt with women the right way are incredibly rare, which is why the few who do get it also have way more sexual options than they can handle. So if you're interested in having the power to quickly create these kinds of emotional connections with women that are sexual in nature, here is what I suggest. Go take a look at my top-rated program, the F Formula, by clicking the link below in the description box. I'm sure a QR code is going to pop up right now, so scan the QR code and go check out the F Formula now. Not only will you discover what women secretly want, the kind of things only a fellow woman could ever know, you'll also see exactly how to communicate with us in a way that builds the kind of sexual tension that we fantasize about every single day. Fair warning though, once your guy friends see the way women respond to you, once you discover this, they may not let you anywhere near their girlfriends or their wives. For more tips on how to quickly and easily ignite feelings of emotional connection in any woman you speak to and learn how to flirt like a king, simply click the link below or scan the QR code on your screen now. Thank you very much for watching this video today. I hope you found it useful, and as always, I will see you again next week.